Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please type yes in the chat box if you can hear me. Please confirm by typing yes in the chat box. Thank you very much. Thank you, Divya. Thank you very much for your confirmations. Let us stop the chat. Thank you, Snehal. Let us stop the chat. Perfect. Thank you, Andrew. So what is our plan for today? As we know, we are learning DevOps on AWS platform. As we know, we are learning DevOps on AWS platform. So you need to have an AWS account. I'm sure most of you are having AWS account. I'm also sure many of you are not having AWS account. I'll show you the steps to create a new AWS account. Please follow the steps and go ahead and create a new AWS account. The only prerequisite, every DevOps engineer should have a good understanding on Linux, basics of Linux. So we need a Linux environment. So for that, I'll be creating a Linux machine on AWS. This is something new for newcomers. I'll be showing you how to create a Linux machine, and we'll also learn how can we connect to the Linux machine using the terminal called as putty. So we are experiencing a flavor of AWS today. Participants, okay. You will be experiencing the flavor of AWS today, and we'll also getting started with the Linux. So this is our plan for today's session. As usual, before moving on to today's session, any questions, please raise your hand. Any questions? Who wants to have a talk? Yesterday, some of the participants are still having some questions. Any questions, please raise your hand. Good evening, Snehal. Any questions? Okay. 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 Let's get started. Learning DevOps is nothing but collection of tools. Learning DevOps is nothing but collection of tools. Few of the tools what we'll be learning is Git. We'll be learning about Maven. Okay. We learn about Jenkins, which is very important. We learn about Docker. We learn about Docker Swarm. We learn Ansible. We learn Nagios. We learn Terraform. So these are the tools which we'll be learning in our DevOps course. Am I right? You know it. All these tools we will be learning on which platform? That is important. We'll be learning all these tools on AWS platform. We'll be learning Ansible on AWS. We'll be learning Docker Swarm, Docker. We'll be learning Jenkins. Everything we'll be learning on AWS environment. So if you want to practice these tools, my dear friends, if you want to perform hands-on on these tools, you have to have an AWS account. You have to have an AWS account. Without AWS account, you cannot practice on these tools. So I'll be showing you how to create a new AWS account. That's the first important agenda. How to create a new AWS account. Now, before getting started about how to create a new AWS account, if anybody asks you what is AWS, if anybody asks you what is AWS, stands for Amazon Web Services. It is your answer. The simplest answer is a cloud platform. My dear participants, if anybody asks you what is AWS, the best answer, the simplest answer is cloud platform. AWS is cloud platform, which is nothing but collection of services. It is nothing but collection of services. AWS is a platform which is collection of services. Each and every service is having its own functionality, its own utility. I'll give a simple example. What is Gmail? Gmail is a service provided by Google. It's an email service. It's a service provided by Google. What is Uber? What is Ola? These are services for mobility. What is Google Drive? It's a storage service. If you want to have some photos, videos, you can upload those photos into Google Drive. It's a storage service. Every service is having its own utility. Every service is having its own utility. Something similar to it. Even cloud platform, that is AWS, is collection of services. As simple as that. It is collection of group of services. Especially for beginners, I want to tell you, it is collection of, it's a platform, it's collection of services. Now, obviously, newcomers will ask me, Sunil, where can you show me some services? As you said, AWS is collection of services. Where can I see those services? I'll now log into my AWS account and I'll show you where are those collection of services. Let me log into AWS. The URL to log into AWS is aws.amazon.com. The URL is aws.amazon.com. I am showing you the collection of AWS is a platform, it's a collection of services. I'm showing you the collection of services. I log into my AWS account by the URL aws.amazon. I already have an account. So let me log into that account. The URL is aws.amazon.com. Sign in to the console. Email address. Okay, so this is my login email address. This is my login password. I have logged into AWS account. I have logged into my AWS account. As I have just mentioned, AWS is collection of services. You may ask me, Sunil, where are the services? You can see in the left side, top. Can you identify? There's something called services. Yes. Here, when you click on this, you'll get a list of services. I'm clicking on, I'm showing you a list of services. Yes, there are a lot of services available. So EC2 is a service, billing is a service, CloudWatch is a service, S3 is a service, IAM is a service. There are services related to compute instances. There are services related to blockchain. There are services related to database. There are services related to web and mobile app. The services related to machine learning. There are services related to IoT. There are services related to networking and content delivery. These are all services. So AWS is collection of services, my dear friends. There are more than 200 services in AWS. There are more than 200 services which are there in AWS. So AWS is a platform. That's it. AWS is a platform which is collection of services. View all services. And I'm showing you all these are services. Oh my God, these many number of services. That's it, as simple as that. Grouping of services and making it as one platform. That's nothing but a cloud platform. An example of a cloud platform is AWS. Okay. Okay. So we are learning DevOps on AWS. So you should have an AWS account. You should have an AWS account. If you're not having an AWS account, please create an AWS account immediately after the session. Now I'm showing you how to create a new AWS account. As you know, I have just logged in because I already have an AWS account. For participants who are completely new to AWS, there are a few people who are directly jumping into DevOps. That's not a problem. Go ahead and create a new AWS account. If you want to create an AWS account, you need to have three details with you. You should have an email address. If you want to create a new AWS account, you should have an email address. No doubt we all have an email address. You should have a mobile number. No doubt we are all having a mobile number. Please, if you are having two mobile numbers, please use the mobile number which is linked to your bank account. Please use the mobile number which is linked to your bank account. You should have a debit card. You should have a debit card or a credit card. We all have a debit card. Credit card probably could be difficult, but we all have a debit card. If you have these three details with you, if you have an email address, if you have a mobile number which is linked to your bank account with you, if you have a debit card, yes, you can proceed and create a new AWS account. So let me show you the steps involved in creating a new AWS account. I already have documented it. I already have documented how to create a new AWS account. So the URL is aws.amazon.com. Let me go to the AWS URL, aws.amazon.com. Sign in to the console. As I already have an AWS account, I can happily enter my email address and login password and sign in. Especially for people who are new to AWS, scroll down, there's an option called create a new AWS account. There's an option called create a new AWS account. So if you want to create a new AWS account, go ahead and create a new AWS account by using this button, create a new AWS account. Yes. As I told you, when you want to create a new AWS account, these three details you need to have it. You need to have your email address, you need to have your mobile number, you need to have your debit card. Once you have all these details with you, so you need to follow the steps. You need to follow a series of steps to create a new AWS account. I already have documented it. I'm showing you. Have a look at it. I already have documented the steps to create a new AWS account. Step one. Step one, you need to go to the URL. You already know it, aws.amazon.com. Please provide your email address. I hope it is very clear and visible. You have to provide your email address. This will be your login password. Provide your email address, provide your login password, and create a AWS account name. Account name is nothing but your name, and click on continue. This is the first step. Step one, you need to furnish your email account in step one. So we need to provide email address in step one, followed in the login password. Yes, we have provided it. Next. When you click on next, scroll down, it will ask you to enter the contact information. AWS provides two types of accounts, my dear friends. Please have a look at it. AWS provides two types of accounts. You can easily identify it. We have a professional account and personal account. You are creating AWS account for your personal use. You are creating an AWS account for your personal use. So go ahead and select the option as personal. Provide your full name, provide your contact number, provide the right country. I have seen some participants providing India mobile number and country as US. No, you need to select the right country and provide the right mobile number and provide the address. So you need to provide your contact details in step two. That is, you need to provide your mobile number in step two. Okay. Step one, we have provided email address and login password, and mobile number we have provided in step two. Perfect. Next. Enter your debit card or credit card details. It will ask you for your debit card or credit card details. I will enter my card details. You can see here. I have entered my card details. Like this, you have to enter your card details. You have to provide your expiry date, account name, CVV number. So do you have PAN? I don't want to furnish my PAN. Click on no, click on verify and add. So I have provided my debit card details in step three. Simple. Provide your email address in step one. Provide your mobile number in step two. Provide your debit card details in step three. Now you get an OTP to check whether the debit card is correct or not, is valid or not. You need to get your OTP. This is OTP provided by your bank account to verify whether the debit card what you have entered is correct or not. Okay. This is to verify your debit card. Next. 2 rupees will be deducted from your bank account for a verification purpose. Confirm your identity. You need to again provide your mobile number one more time. This is to verify whether your mobile number is valid or not. You need to provide mobile number one more time. 2 times. You already have provided your mobile number after the email address. You need to provide your mobile number one more time. So you get an OTP to check whether the mobile number is correct or not. First OTP to verify whether debit card details are correct or not. Second OTP to verify whether the mobile number what you have entered is correct or not. Important point. AWS provides you 3 types of plans, my dear participants. As you can see in the slide, AWS provides 3 types of plans: free plan, developer plan and business plan. Free plan is more than enough for us to go ahead and practice our DevOps tool. So free plan is more than enough. Select the plan as free plan. The AWS account, what we create now is a free AWS account, which is valid for 12 months. So when you create an AWS account now, you can use this AWS account free with some limitations for a period of 12 months. Scroll down. Select your role, select your interested platform. That's all. Click on thank you. You are done. You are done. You get an email. You get an email saying that you have successfully created an AWS account. You get an email which you have furnished in the steps. Okay, you already furnished your email address in the steps. So you get an email. Once the AWS account is created, it will take approximately sometimes 12 hours for the AWS account to get activated. Creation is different, activation is different. First, your AWS account gets created. After 12 hours, your AWS account will be activated. Once it is activated, you can start using your AWS account. I already have an AWS account. Okay, so I have already shown you how to log into AWS account. So my dear friends, I'll be sharing this document to you. Using this document, please go ahead and create a new AWS account. Please respond in the chat box. Am I clear in explaining you the step-by-step process of how to create a new AWS account? If yes, please type yes in the chat box. AWS is mandatory because all the tools, whatever we are learning, we'll be learning on AWS account. So you should have an AWS account. I have already provided detailed information. And one important point, your debit card should be enabled for international transactions. Okay, your debit card should be enabled for international transactions. So make sure if you have a mobile app, from the mobile app or from the internet banking, you can enable the international transactions for your debit card. By default, the debit card is not enabled. You need to enable the debit card for international transactions and make a note of this. It should be enabled. If you call to customer care, they'll also enable. You need to enable the debit card for international transactions. Clear? Yeah. So go ahead and create a new AWS account. I already have an AWS account. So I can easily log into AWS account. Perfect. So please go ahead and create a new AWS account. Yes. Good evening, Rohini. How are you doing?
Sir, should I select basic support free?
Correct. Basic plan. You're already doing it, Rohini? You're already going and creating an AWS account now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Make sure your debit card is enabled for international transactions.
Yes, sir.
Manasi. Your question, Manasi? Manasi Sahu. I can see your hand raised. You are now allowed. Any questions, please raise your hand. You are now allowed to unmute and talk. If you have no questions, no problem. Please drop your hand. How are you? Manka.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Your location?
Please. I'm in the United States of America.
Yes, what's your question?
Yesterday I followed the class and everything was okay, based from the introduction and right down to the types of the best model to use. But right now, today, I think I came 5 minutes late and I saw you were giving steps on how to create an AWS. And so now I really do not know the platform or how I can go about creating it. So is it like an exercise that I'm supposed to do?
As I told you, we are learning all the DevOps tools on AWS platform. Am I right, Manka?
Yes, ma. Yes,
So
sir.
if you want to do hands-on, all these tools, whatever we are learning in DevOps, isn't it? These are the set of tools. All these
Yes.
tools we'll be doing hands-on on AWS platform. So you should have an AWS account. That's what I have today shown you the steps to create a new AWS account. Please watch the recording. Okay. I'll be also showing you a supporting document. This is a supporting document which contains a series of steps to go ahead and create a new AWS account. Okay. Please do that.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, every DevOps professional should be good in basic Linux. All of us should be good in basics of Linux. So we'll be spending few days on making ourselves comfortable with Linux commands, because all the tools going forward, all the tools like Ansible, Jenkins, we'll be using Linux commands when we're learning Ansible and the list of all the tools, Docker. So let's make ourselves comfortable. Let's spend some time making ourselves comfortable with the Linux environment. I want to show, we want to learn the basic Linux commands, which are very, very important, frequently used by DevOps engineers. My laptop, my dear participants, my laptop is installed with which operating system? You can easily clearly see that my laptop is installed with Windows operating system. 64-bit operating system Windows. But I don't want a Windows operating system because my plan is to learn the Linux commands. So one way to learn Linux, to have a Linux environment, option one, I need to format my laptop. Because I don't want Windows, I want a Linux environment because I want to practice Linux commands. Option one, I need to format my laptop and reinstall with Linux. That is option one. Option two, I can create a Linux machine on virtual machine. Are you understanding? This is a different approach. This is my laptop. In other words, my hardware. My laptop is having 8 GB memory. That's nothing but RAM. And I have 500 GB of storage. I have few processors. This is my hardware layer. It can be a laptop or desktop. And my laptop is installed. What operating system I have installed on my laptop? As it is very clear, I have installed Windows. But what I want is not a Windows environment. I want a Linux environment. For that, what I'll do is I'll be installing a new tool called VMware. I already have installed it. Can you see VMware Workstation? On top of Windows environment, I have installed an application called VMware. This is a VMware environment where I can create some virtual machine. So on top of Windows operating system, I have installed an application called VMware Workstation. On top of VMware, I have created a new virtual machine. Can you see Red Hat Linux I have created? This is my required environment. Super. Instead of formatting my Windows machine, so what I do, I have created a virtual machine called Linux. For every virtual machine to run, this is a Linux machine. Can you see? This is a Linux machine. Did I format my Windows machine? No, my Windows machine is as it is. On top of Windows machine, I have installed a Linux machine. These kind of machines which are running on VMware are called as actually a virtual machine. Any virtual machine needs 3 hardware components. Any machine needs 3 hardware components. One is RAM, that's nothing but memory. Storage, that's nothing but hard drive. And processor. Even the Linux machine which you are able to see now, it also has 3 hardware components. Can you see? Memory 4 GB. Memory of this particular Linux machine is how much GB? It is 4 GB. 4 GB RAM. How much hard drive? Can you see? 100 GB of hard disk I have allocated. And how many processors I have allocated? I have allocated 2 processors. See, actual memory I have in my laptop is 8 GB and 50% I have allocated to this Linux machine. I have 500 GB and some part of the hard disk I have allocated to the Linux machine. And some processor I have, some CPU power I have allocated to the Linux machine. So I have allocated few hardware to this Linux machine. So when I run this Linux machine, it will consume 4 GB of memory. It will consume 100 GB of hard disk. It will consume the processor, and the virtual machine will be started. Can you see here? I'm starting my virtual machine. Okay, looks like I have deleted my virtual machine. Okay, that's okay. So right now I'm not having the virtual machine. So this is one approach. This is one approach. Looks like I think I have deleted my VMDK file. That's okay. This is one approach. So one approach, the first approach is formatting my laptop. Second approach is we creating a Linux environment. Any environment, whatever you want. It could be Linux environment, or it could be Mac and Mac operating system. It could be an Ubuntu operating system. It could be Solaris operating system. Whatever the operating system, you can create it by using virtualization technology called VMware. The only thing is you have to allocate your hardware configuration. You have to allocate your RAM. You have to allocate your memory. You have to allocate your hard disk. You have to allocate your processor. So basing on your hardware configuration, the machines will run. This is one option. Option two is this one. Option 3 is much more preferred option. The Linux environment, whichever I want, I can create it on AWS. The Linux environment, whatever I want, I can create it on AWS account. AWS are maintaining huge data centers. AWS are maintaining hundreds of terabytes of RAM, hundreds of zettabytes of hard drives, huge number of processors. They have heavy storage in AWS data centers. So why to allocate your hardware when AWS are having their particular hardware in their data centers? I don't want to provide my laptop hardware configuration for my Linux machine. I want to consume the AWS hardware, AWS data center hardware. So I'm showing you now, participants, I'm showing you now how to create an AWS, how to create a Linux machine on AWS platform. How to create a Linux machine on AWS platform. So first step, what you need to do is log into AWS. You know the URL. I hope you already know it, aws.amazon.com. Log in with your email address and login password. Log into your AWS account. Let me do that fast. The URL is aws.amazon.com. Yes. Sign into the console. Log in with your email address and login password. This is my email address. This is my login password. I am logged into my AWS account. I have logged into my AWS account successfully. Very good. I have logged into my AWS account successfully. If you want to create Linux machine, the service what you have to use is EC2. As I told you, AWS is collection of services. I'll be using a service called as EC2. EC2 is a service which helps you to create virtual machines on cloud. You can create Linux machine, you can create Windows machine, whatever operating system you want, you can create a Solaris machine, whatever you want, you can create it. You can create an Ubuntu machine. Any machine you want to create, you can create it on the AWS cloud platform. So for that, you need to select a service called as EC2. As you know, there's an option called services. Go to services, and the service what you need to select is EC2, or you can go to compute section. EC2 is a service. Under compute section, you can go to compute section, and then what is the service you need to select is EC2. EC2 is all about creating virtual servers on cloud. So select the service called as EC2. Elastic Compute Cloud. So I have selected a service called the EC2. Instances are nothing but the virtual machines. I go ahead and select instances. Right now, do you have any instances? There are no instances. There are no virtual machines. Do you have any machines now? I know it's an empty machine. There are no machines at all. Super. Now, what is my plan, friends? Now, what is my plan? Why did we log into AWS? Please respond in the chat box. What is our plan now? Why did we log into AWS? What is our plan? Our plan is to learn Linux commands. Our plan is to learn Linux commands, but we do not have a Linux machine. So what we'll do, we will be creating Linux machine, not on your personal laptop. We'll be creating Linux machine in AWS account. Superb. Now I'm showing you steps to create a Linux machine. Please, after the session, you have to build a habit. For the next 2 months, whatever we are learning, immediately you have to practice. Keep that in mind. Perfect. Yes, you are right. Let's stop the chat. So whatever we are learning, you have to practice. So I already have shown you AWS account. I'm logging into my AWS account. Now what I'm doing, I'm launching a new instance. That means I'm creating a new machine. Creating a Linux machine is very, very easy. This is my AWS cloud platform. So what are we planning to learn? We are planning to create a Linux machine. Correct. What you are planning? I want to create a Linux machine. Okay, let's do that. For that, we have to select a service called as EC2. I already have created services. Right now, there are no instances. That means there are no machines. I'm launching the instance. I am launching the instance. Click on launch instances. Name of the instance. Instance name can be anything, my dear friends. Instance name can be anything. And naming it as my name, Sunil. Name of the instance. Name can be anything. What is the name of the machine? Instance is nothing but the name, Sunil. Okay. Next is application and operating system. What operating system you want? What operating system you want to create a machine? Very good, but you have to tell what machine you want to create. Scroll down. Okay, you can see here you can create a Linux or you can create a Mac operating system. You can create a Windows operating system. You can select Windows, Ubuntu, Red Hat. What I want to do is to create a Red Hat machine. I don't, if you want to create Windows, you can select Windows, whatever you want, you can create it. You can see Windows Server. You have a lot of options for respect to Windows. Windows Server 2019, Windows Server 2016. There are a lot of Windows operating system. Windows with combination with SQL Server is also there. That is Microsoft Windows with SQL Server database. So there are a lot of operating systems. Now, I don't want to create Windows machine. My plan is to create a Linux machine. Okay, very good. I want to go with Red Hat Linux. I want to go with Red Hat Linux. I have selected Red Hat Linux. There are a lot of options with respect to Red Hat Linux, but very important, there is only one operating system which is eligible for free tier. Can you see? Have you identified? Have you identified? There's only one operating system which is eligible for free tier. Please observe it. Make sure you're selecting an operating system which is eligible for free tier, because the AWS account, what we have created is a free tier account. Let's say if you're not selecting a free tier eligibility, if you create some other operating system, then you need to pay the bill. So AWS is a free account, is a free tier account for a period of 12 months with some limitations. As it is free, you cannot misuse it. It is having some limitations. So that's the reason. Make sure that we are creating, please make sure that you are creating, making sure that you are selecting an operating system which is eligible for free tier. I'm selecting this option. Very good. 1 minute. Launch instances. Instance name Sunil. Number of instances. In a single shot, you can go ahead and create 10 instances also. I want to create only one instance. Okay. Select the operating system. I will be selecting Red Hat. In this Red Hat, I'm making sure that I select a free tier account. Okay. Next, scroll down. It's a 64-bit operating system. That's okay. What is the instance type? There are different instance types. There are difference in different instance types. Can you see here? We have T2 Nano, T2 Micro, T2 Small, T2 Medium. There are different instance type, but please observe, there's only one instance type which is eligible for free tier, that is called as T2 Micro. So please go ahead and select T2 Micro. Sunil, what do you mean by T2 Micro machine? Sunil, we are selecting T2 Micro. What do you mean by T2 Micro? This instance, what you're creating is a T2 Micro machine. What do you mean by T2 Micro machine? That means T2 Micro is nothing but one CPU and 1 GB memory. So what is the hardware configuration of this Linux machine? The Linux machine which we are creating in AWS account is having how much RAM? As I told you, every virtual machine should have hardware configuration. It is having 1 GB memory. That is nothing but 1 GB RAM. And how many CPUs? It is having one CPU. So this is nothing but a T2 Micro. T2 Micro machines are the machines which are having 1 GB memory and one CPU. Okay. Next, scroll down. When you create an AWS account, you need to, when you create a Linux machine, it will ask you to create a key pair. Next, this is something new. Again, it is asking you to create a key pair. Sunil, what is key pair? Why should we create a key pair? Yes, I'll show you. First, let me go ahead and create a key pair. Can you see we have an option called creating a new key pair? Can you see we have an option of creating a new key pair? Okay, create a new key pair. Key pair name. Key pair name can be anything. Key pair name. It can be anything. I'm writing it as Sunil EP key pair with today's date 18. That's my key pair name. Sunil KP 18. It can be any name. Key pair type. See, key pair is nothing but a file. It can be PEM file. It can be PPK file. I'll be selecting PPK file. What file I'm selecting? PPK file. That means it will download the PPK file. Click on create key pair. What is downloading? It is a downloading PPK file. What you have selected is it is downloading the PPK file. Okay, very good. In the downloads folder, I created one more folder with the name Sunil. In the Sunil folder, I'm downloading the key pair. Key pair is nothing but a PPK file. Yes, I have done with creating a key pair. A key pair is nothing but a PPK file. So a key pair is nothing but a PPK file. What is a key pair extension .ppk? And what is the key pair name? Sunil KP18. That's the name. The file name is the same. Okay. It's nothing but a putty private key. So you'll be using this particular file. You'll be using this particular file when for connecting to this particular Linux machine. I'll show you. So in the process of creating a Linux machine, it is asking the name. It is asking the instance type. It has asked for key pair. I have generated the key pair. Proceed. It is asking for network settings. Don't disturb the network settings. Take the default network settings. It is allowing SSH traffic. Please observe. Don't worry about this. Don't change the default configurations. Let's proceed. Root volume. Volume is nothing but a hard drive. It is providing you 10 GB hard drive. Okay, got it. What is the hard drive configuration? It is providing 10 GB of hard drives. Okay, very good. That's nothing but the storage. And this is just advanced details. You don't need to worry about these advanced details as of now. Okay. And let's minimize this advanced details. And I'm done with launching the instance. You can review it. Participants, number of instances, what I'm creating is one. It is a Red Hat machine of T2 Micro. That is the instance type. And it is having one volume. That's nothing but hard drive of 10 GB of hard disk. It is a free tier machine. Yes, I'm done. Click on launch instance. Click on launch instance. The instance is getting launched. That means the machine is getting created successfully. The instance has been launched. Scroll down, view instances, view all instances, scroll down. My dear participants, hooray, we have created a new Linux machine, not in your personal laptop. It is not in a personal laptop. We have created a new Linux machine. The name of the Linux machine is Sunil. And where did we create it? We have created the Linux machine on AWS platform. Clear? This is the name of the Linux machine which we have just now created. Super. You may have a question. Sunil, this Linux machine, what is the hardware configuration of this Linux machine? I already shown you. It is a T2 micro machine. The Linux machine hardware configuration is 1 GB memory, that's 1 GB RAM, 1 CPU, and 10 GB hard drive. Perfect. Now the machine previously was pending state, the machine is in running state. The machine has been successfully created. The machine is successfully created. You may have a question, Sunil, where is this machine created? If you have a question, Sunil, where is this machine created? If my answer is my machine is created in AWS platform, that's fine. But technically, where is this machine created? If you observe here on the right side top, can you see there's a city called Mumbai? Participants, I have created my AWS account in Mumbai data center. Beauty, super. In Mumbai, AWS is building, they have already having their data centers, which is having huge servers. So it is consuming 1 GB of hard memory, it is consuming 1 CPU, it is consuming 10 GB of hard drive. From which data center? Mumbai data. So this machine which I have created now is running in Mumbai location. Am I clear? If yes, please type yes in the chat box. Am I clear in showing you how to create a new AWS account? Not only creating an AWS account, inside the AWS account, inside the Mumbai data center, as per my requirement, I have created a Linux machine. How beautiful it is. I am not consuming my laptop RAM. I'm not consuming the hard disk of my laptop. I am consuming the memory. I am consuming the hard drive. I am consuming the CPU power of AWS data center Mumbai. Super. That's the beauty of cloud. Super. Let's stop the chat. Let's stop the chat. Perfect. Machine is ready. Why did you create this machine? Why we have created this machine? Because we want to learn Linux. We have created this Linux machine because we want to learn Linux. Okay. So machine creation is one part. Okay. How can we connect to this particular machine? How can we connect to this machine? I am from Hyderabad city. This machine is in Mumbai. You already know it. Sunil, how can we now connect to the Linux machine? You may be in Hyderabad, you may be in US, it can be any location. How can we connect to the Linux machine? If you want to connect to the Linux machine, we need a terminal called PuTTY. What is PuTTY? PuTTY is a terminal. PuTTY is an environment, a terminal to connect to the Linux machine. You need a terminal called PuTTY. So what we have to do, you have to download the PuTTY in your personal laptop. You have to download this terminal PuTTY. So PuTTY by default, you will not have it. You have to download it. So I'm showing you how to download PuTTY. Open Google. Very simple. Open Google and search for PuTTY download. Select the first option, putty.org, first website. And can you see there's a first option PuTTY, download PuTTY, and select the first option 64-bit operating system. Please download this. This is the first option. Where I want to download, I'm downloading this in the downloads folder. It's an MSI file, Microsoft installer file. I am downloading the PuTTY software. It's a very small software of 3.5 MB. I think the downloading is completed. Done. What I have downloaded, PuTTY software I have downloaded, it's an MSI file. You have to install it. Not just downloading it, you have to install this particular terminal. Double click on it. Double click on this particular MSI file. I don't want to download it from my app. I think you already have PuTTY. I already have PuTTY. Please download the exe file and install it. It is very simple. It gets downloaded. Or you can download this one. PuTTY.exe. This is a direct executable file. Double click on it. Okay, download it from the mobile app, from the Microsoft app. Okay, super. I already have downloaded and I have installed it. You can see the putty environment is ready with me now. Putty.exe. This is how the putty environment looks like. Now the point is, why did I download this putty? Why did I download this putty? Because putty is a terminal. Putty is a terminal which is used to connect to the Linux machine. The Linux machine what we have just now created. The Linux machine what we have just now created is up and running now. I want to connect to this Linux machine, so I want to get started with Linux. So you need a terminal called putty, which I have downloaded it already. Next. How can I connect to this particular Linux machine? If you want to connect to the Linux machine, you need some details. What details you need? Click on it. Select the machine. Select the machine. Have you remembered after creating this particular machine, it is asking you to download, it has asked you to download a key pair. When I have created a machine, do you remember it has asked to download a key pair? I have downloaded the key pair. Take a note of it. Where is the key pair downloaded? The key pair is downloaded in the downloads folder. Inside Sunil folder, this is a PPK file. It stands for putty private key. This key is used for connectivity. Can you see here? You can easily identify it. It is a putty private key. PPK stands for putty private key. It's already downloaded. I hope you remember it. This file is very, very important for connectivity purpose. If you don't download this file, you cannot connect. It's very important to download this particular file. Okay, the file is ready. Next. How to connect to this particular machine. So select the machine, click on connect. Click on connect. This is the SSH command. Don't copy the entire SSH command. Copy from this part, ec2-user at the rate. That's nothing but the username. You have to pick up this particular part of this particular command. This is the command which you need to use for connectivity. So pick up this particular, this is nothing but the DNS name, user at the rate DNS name. So you need to use the details and you need to enter the details in the host name. Next, putty needs what file? PPK file. I hope you remember putty needs what file? PPK file. The name of PPK file is already available in the downloads folder. So I will point out that particular PPK file under the connection. Can you see we have connection? Under connection, we have SSH. Under SSH, we have authentication. Under authentication, we have credentials and private key. Browse your private key, putty private key. This is your PPK. It's nothing but your private key. Browse your PPK file. So PPK file is required, and this username at .dns is required. So these two details are required. Click on open. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes, we have successfully connected to the Linux machine. Hooray! My dear friends, I have successfully connected to Linux machine. Now tell me, is this Linux machine installed on my personal laptop? No. This is on cloud. This machine is on cloud. This machine is now cloud. That's the beauty of EC2. EC2 is a service. EC2 is a service which helps you to create Linux machine, which helps you to create Windows machine. It helps you to create Mac operating system. Whatever the machine you want, you can create it on AWS data center by using a service called as EC2. Super. Not only creating an EC2 machine, I also have shown you how to connect to the Linux machine. What is the proof that you have successfully connected the Linux machine? The IP address is the proof. The IP address of the Linux machine is 172.31.8.180. You will get the same IP address here. You can see here. 172.31.8.180. Is it the same IP address? Yes, that's a proof that I have successfully connected. And here you can happily practice the Linux command. There's a command called doami, which will show you the current user. The current user which you have connected is ec2-user. We have a command called touch command, which helps you to create a file. Yes. We have an ls command to see the files what we have created. We have an exit command to close the connection. I have disconnected. So what are the steps we have learned? I have shown you how to create an AWS account. I have shown you how to create a Linux machine on AWS account. I also have shown you that we need a terminal called putty. And we also have learned how can we connect to the Linux machine and get started with Linux commands. Perfect. Very important point. Because AWS is free, please don't misuse it. As AWS is free account for a period of 12 months, don't misuse it. After practicing, I strongly recommend to stop the machine. The machine is in running state. You can see the Linux machine which you have just now created is in running state. Once you don't directly log out. That's not a right practice. Okay, so this machine is running state. Once you're done practicing, please stop the machine. There's an option called instance state. There's an option called stop the instance. The machine is getting stopped. The machine is also stopped. Creating a machine is just hardly taking 1-2 minutes. Stop the machine once you're done with hands-on. This will take less than a minute for the machine to get stopped. It's already stopped, my dear friends. You can see here. It's already stopped. Let's say you want to start again, select the machine, and then you can start the machine, which once you want to practice again. I strongly recommend, my dear participants, even stopped instances are also charged. Okay, stopped machines are also charged. You can use, I think, 750 hours per month. The limitation of a free tier is 750 hours, I think, so we can use it per month. So even the stopped instances are also counted. Once you are done practicing, I strongly recommend to terminate. Terminate is nothing but permanently remove the machine from your AWS account. Stopped means not permanently removed. Whenever you want, you can again start it. If you don't want the machine, you can permanently terminate the machine. If you terminate the machine, it will be removed from your AWS account. It is successfully terminated. So please be careful. I strongly recommend to terminate the machine, and whenever you want, you can again recreate it. That's not a problem. Bhaskar, good evening. How is today's session?
Yeah, it's great, Sunil sir. Actually, I have one question. Because if in our environment, I have 10 Linux machines, okay.
Okay.
For the login procedure, I can understand because I have done practice as well in the AWS. But every time we need to do that, using the key pair, or we can set password for that
We can
Linux
set the
machine.
password also. You can just connect using the username and password. I'll be showing you in the coming classes. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. How are you, Karan?
Hi, I'm good.
Good evening,
So,
Karan.
my voice is audible, right?
Yes, it is audible.
So I want to ask, is this possible to download that putty on Mac iOS?
Yes. Mac
Yeah,
comes with the
because
default its own terminal. You don't need to use putty. Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't understand. Sorry,
No,
can you
I
repeat?
think Mac comes with its own terminal. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you just search how to connect to Linux from Mac. You'll get that particular tab. That's the default app. You get it along with Mac. Okay.
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 Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Muniratnam. How are you? I can see your hand raised, Muniratnam. Can you hear me, Muni Ratnam? Rohini.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Rohini.
Yes, sir.
What's your question?
So, I was asking that this is not getting installed putty SSH. So I'll go through the recording once more.
Yeah.
I'll do that. So why didn't we directly downloaded SHU Linux? Why did we install Red Hat?
Anything. I just want to show you Red Hat. You can also repeat for Ubuntu or any other operating system. The process remains the same. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
One
Thank
operating system I've selected. That's the reason I've selected Red Hat.
It is make no differences with any of the operating
Yeah,
systems.
you are right. The terminal, the process will remain the same whether it is Red Hat or Ubuntu.
Okay.
Ram Sethi.
Hey Sunil, thanks for
Yeah, thank you.
just I have a question. See now we are launching this instance right from AWS. So and which we are creating this key pair name, that's PPK file, which we are making the connectivity between AWS and then via the putty, right, to
Correct.
launch. So the question is, so now I have terminated my instance, just you terminated the instance, right? So
Correct.
tomorrow again I need to create a new instance. Every time I need to download this PPK file
You
and
can
then
download the PPK file. You can also use an existing PPK file. Okay.
okay, so that it
Okay.
doesn't change the
Yeah,
connectivity
yeah.
via.
When you are selecting an option, you can, instead of creating a new key pair, you can select an existing key pair also. Okay.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Ram. Okay. So you can see here it is terminated. The terminated machines are not charged. Okay, perfect. And then once you're terminated, please log out. So please follow this practice, because don't think that as it is AWS is free. I have seen many participants directly signing out by keeping the machines running. That's not a good practice. You end up receiving a bill. Whether you don't pay it, it does not make much difference, but it's always good habit to remove the infrastructure, whatever we have just now created. So did we stick to our agenda of today's session? You now know what do you mean by AWS. AWS is on a high level, you also came to know, you already have experienced its collection of services. And we also came to know there is one service called EC2, which is all about creating virtual machines on cloud. We have learned the process of creating Linux machine on AWS. We have used a terminal called Putty, and we also know now how to connect to the Linux machine using the terminal called as Putty. Please practice. If you are already knowing AWS, that's okay. But tomorrow, as the environment is ready, as the Linux machine is ready, tomorrow is all about getting started with the practicals of Linux commands. Tomorrow, I'll not show you how to create an AWS account or how to create a Linux machine. I will be directly connecting to that particular Linux machine, and entire session will be learning practicals of Linux. So that is our plan for tomorrow. As one quick reminder, as you know, these are not the free trainings; these are the paid trainings. If you have decided, please complete the payment formalities, because this is day 2. Day 3 also you can join using the new link. Okay, using the same link, but once the meeting link will be changing soon. So if you have decided, please buy now. Click on this buy now button from the website logiclabstech.com. Posting it in the URL in the chat box. There's an option called buy now, and the course fees is 6,499. That is 6,500. You can buy the course and you can check out, and you can make the payment with the Google Pay or Phone Pay, or you can make the payment using QR code, as simple as that. Yes. International participants, you can make the payment using Stripe, which is already integrated to your mobile account. Good evening, Priya.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So my question is, you have shown, we have to terminate the
Machine.
Linux machine, right? When we are doing means login next time, so we have to follow all these steps for installation,
You have to
like
recreate it because you
recreate.
have terminated. Termination is nothing but permanently removing it. Okay. Right?
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Might
So
be,
if you don't
might be
want
I
to
will.
permanently remove it, you can stop the machine, because that's okay. But don't forget it. You can stop the machine. You can reuse tomorrow, because that machine has maybe have some settings or previous examples. Am I right,
Mhm.
Varma? So the point is 750 hours is free. Okay. So make sure you don't exceed those 750 hours. Okay. Okay. Of Linux, of
Okay,
virtual machines.
okay. And might be I will ask many silly questions to you because it's my first experience with this AWS and DevOps.
No
Uh,
problem. But
so
I strongly recommend to also learn complete AWS course or exclusive AWS course also. Really?
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And if I will face any issue during the installation and setting the AWS account, so how
You
we can
can
connect to you?
you can send an email to our email address sunil@logiclabstech.com. Okay, with your technical questions. Always I recommend you to take the screenshot of the error, whatever you have received it, so that I can easily
Okay,
understand it and reply to you.
okay,
Okay.
okay. Yeah,
Okay, Priya.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Mahabub,
Yeah, hi sir, good evening.
good evening. How is today's
Yeah,
class?
sir. Yeah, it was nice, sir.
Do you know
Yeah, do we
AWS already, or you was first time?
no, sir. This is my first experience
Okay.
with AWS.
Okay.
Do we need to enroll for AWS, sir? You are teaching about the DevOps, right?
Correct. This course is all about focusing on DevOps. I recommend
DevOps.
you to learn the AWS also, because AWS knowledge is always added value to the DevOps resume. Okay.
Okay, sir. For enrolling AWS, the session is going to be morning, right?
AWS is not yet started. Okay. In the upcoming batches, you'll get the schedule once it gets started.
Okay, the
Okay.
already demo sessions are going, right?
Where?
Logic Labs.
Which
I
faculty?
have attended. I have attended Nikita.
Check it.
AWS,
Check
sir.
it. If it is available, you can proceed.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed the session. See you tomorrow, where we learn entire concepts of Linux. Have a good time. Thank you.